you won your first ranking tournament in 1997 when you won the Grand Prix and you beat John Higgins 9-6 in the final.
I did, yeah. I was ranked in the sort of mid-50s at the time, so to get to a final, or anywhere near a final, I was achieving something I'd never got near before. So I was like I really was a fish out of water there. I remember playing that final. I didn't think about winning. I didn't think about losing. I just didn't want to play John Higgins, who I thought might hammer me and embarrass me, because at the time he was world number 2. I was just playing snooker to see what would happen. And all of a sudden, I was in a winning position. I ended the afternoon session 5-3 up, I think. Yep. And I ended up sort of 8-6 up and a frame away from victory. And I was waiting to feel the pressure, or I was waiting to sort of start struggling. It never happened. I got stronger and stronger because there was just no pressure on me. I was achieving something I'd never got near achieving before. And for that one particular time, nobody was expecting me to win, and I just carried on doing what I did, and luckily it was good enough.
Well, what a man to beat as well, John Higgins, one of the all-time greats and a legend in snooker.
Absolutely. I think John at the time was about 23 or 24 years old. I was 25, nearly 26, and he was world number 2. To be world number 2 in the Hendry era and all that, and Ronnie and Mark Williams and all those guys around at that time. I mean, to be world number 2 at the age of 23, 24, which John was fantastic. Incredible. Yeah. Just shows how great a player he is.
Oh, he's been around a long time, and of course, the following year he was world champion in 1998, beating Ken Doherty.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
10 years on from your first ranking tournament, then you won the Shanghai Masters, Dominic. And you beat your fellow compatriot Ryan Day 10-6.
Yeah.
And you were 6-2 down in that final.
Do you know, I've got a funny story about that, because I used to practice with Ryan all the time in his club in Pontacoma, near Bridgend. He used to have this great big... His father is a building contractor, and he took on this great big place called the Vets, V-E-T-Z it was spelt, and it was a derelict place. I think it used to be some sort of brewery in Oxford Street in Pontacoma there. It's a little tiny Welsh village near Bridgend.
Yes.
And he had all these government grants to regenerate it and everything, and it took about a year and a half to sort of build up into this fantastic snooker club and bar and everything. And that's where Ryan ended up being based, and for probably 3 or 4 years at least, I was practicing with him there. And I remember practicing with Ryan the day before we flew out to Shanghai, and I was 6-3 down on the practice table to him and beat him 9-8. So we ended up playing in Shanghai, and he's in one half of the draw and I'm in the other, and we just kept winning, and we ended up playing each other in the final.
It was an old man.
And I was 6-2 down in the afternoon session, and I remember making a break in 94, had a chance to get the highest break, and I messed up with 2 reds left. But I won that frame for 6-3 then, so we had a few hours off before the evening session. And Ryan, come the evening session, I don't know, he played like somebody that was 8-0 down. He could not pot a ball. He was playing safety shots and hitting them all wrong. He took on a couple of long reds and missed them by miles. He was strangely really nervous. And I got in the first frame. I played a really good safety shot, and he's left me right in. I've made 143, which was the highest break. And so incredibly, I made it 6-4. And then after that, he just seemed to struggle and struggle. I don't think Ryan scored more than about 80 points in the whole of the evening session, amazingly.
He just folded?
A little bit, and I just got stronger and stronger, amazingly, and I was just so surprised to overcome that deficit, playing a great player like Ryan, who's just, on his day, is devastating with his potting and plate building. Oh
yes, a very solid player as well, Ryan Day. And I'm sure, Dominic, that you were thinking of that practice session in the final. You were thinking to yourself, this is a good omen here, I'm 6-3 down. You were probably casting your mind back for positive thoughts of, even though it was only a practice session.
Yeah, I can't remember whether I actually thought of that at the time or not, or whether I was just quietly going about my business, just trying to overcome this. Yeah, I think I probably was. It's amazing, because when you play a match, you could have all the troubles in the world on your shoulders, but when you're out there playing a match, you forget everything and you just focus on the match. And when the match is done and dusted and you go back to your hotel room, you think of all these other things then.